So now in Kelvin we are converting. Okay, just say okay. So we will just remove this earlier thing. Now you have already have the raster Kelvin corrected image. Now if you see earlier the values are 39,789 and 50,671. So these values of temperatures are converted into 282.95 and 331.38. This is in Kelvin we have converted. Now we will have to convert the same values into the degree Celsius. So the conversion formula that we have just discussed is LST minus 273.50. So we are just minusing this 273.50 from our earlier thing, and we will just save the image as LST Kelvin. Celsius. Say save, and you can just convert that into the Celsius. Okay, so now if you see here, the area, this tile which we have just selected is the tile for this Pune area only. Now if you see that highest temperature in the entire satellite imagery is 58 degrees Celsius, because the satellite imagery which we have used right now is the 22nd of March this year, and the lowest temperature is 9. This is because whenever there are buildings and the structures are there, metal structures are there, they tend to getting heated during the like daytime, and that's why the temperature is highest is 58 degrees Celsius and lowest is 9 degrees Celsius. If we change the properties of this particular thing, and we can make it more clear and visible to everyone. See now, this is the heat map of the particular area. Now how we can identify in the entire tile what is our map? So I have already created some KML layers. So this is the layer, that this area that we are seeing now, and this area is also we are going to see in this particular image. So here I have just added one MIT area. Okay, this is not visible, so we will change the color actually. So that the areas can be visible. It's taking some time. And then we will add the layer. Okay, there is some issue with the air. I'll just remove the air. So as you can see here that the temperature of the different part of this particular regions or areas can be seen in the Celsius. Some issue with the data, I'll just add it again. Okay, so this is the temperature of the area. We can change here also, we can add the layer. I don't know what's the issue it's getting here. Temperature areas are into the light green color. So you can just superimpose your any of the area on this particular area, just now what we are doing. So accordingly, you can just superimpose the areas and we can check the temperature in that particular area of the because of the heat element. And this can be done over the period of time, like as I discussed that the Landsat is available like from 2013 till the now the 2026. Because the satellite image that we have just now used is the 22nd March 2026. As you can see here in this also, the areas where rivers and all other water structures are there you can see that the areas are light green in color. That means the heat element impact is not there. Whatever the vegetation area are there are also a light green or dark green in color as compared to areas which are covered with the structures. So this is how the satellite imagery heat maps are generated. This is the heat map generated for the entire tile of the Pune city, where the lower temperature is 9 degrees Celsius and the higher temperature is 58 degrees Celsius. Using this ArcGIS, there is only a small command that you have to use. In search, you will get this raster calculator command. You can download the satellite imagery using the USGS data Earth Explorer. If you want, I can write it in this particular slide also, so that you will get from where you have to get the satellite imagery. Also, I have already told you that you have to download the satellite imagery of Landsat 8, compulsory Landsat 8 level 2 band 10. Otherwise, whatever the temperatures you are getting in that particular satellite imagery, if suppose you have downloaded the Landsat 8 level 1 satellite imagery, the temperatures are not corrected for the atmospheric layer, and therefore the final outcome can be a -10, -16 or something like that. So outcome is not accurate if you consider this level 1 satellite imagery. So you have to by default consider the Landsat level 2 satellite imagery, and the band is BT10, which gives you surface temperature. So these are the heat maps usually we generate using the ArcGIS. Also, the similar structures or similar analysis can be done in Quantum GIS. If suppose you are not having the ArcGIS, raster calculator is there in the Quantum GIS as well. You can go and search into the command raster calculator, download the satellite imagery. So on the freeware also you can identify what is the heat element or heat impact of that particular area because of the urban structures. So now we are going to the other example. Like as we have already discussed.
Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you mentioned a particular type of image
Yes.
satellite data. So, is it available on USGS website?
Yeah, ma'am. It is available on the USGS website. You just have to log in there. It's a free login. You will get the ID password. You log in and then you can directly download the satellite imagery from there. If you want, I can show you a demo.
Can you show, because I normally use SRTM data.
Okay.
Digital elevation model I use, but that is of 30-meter
Right.
resolution.
Right.
But for this particular analysis, which will be the perfect one? Can I get that?
Yeah. I'll show you basically how to download them. So basically, when you go here, you can just USGS data download the Earth Explorer site. Probably you all know. This is the
Yes.
site you will get it. You have to log in here. Login is
Yes.
very important because without login, they can't allow you to download the data. Now
Yes.
here, if you go, there is two types of files you can add here to download data. Like suppose, for example, I am here adding a KML file.
Okay.
I have already downloaded this KML file for the area. I'll show you.
So this data you have taken from USGS only?
Yeah. USGS only. This is the, see now, the area which we have identified is here. Okay.
Correct.
The area that is identified by the software. Now you can go here, you can adjust the cloud cover, but no need in this case surface temperature. You can adjust the cloud cover, like if suppose you are doing it for the other purposes like land use, land cover and all those things, then you
Yes.
can adjust the cloud cover also. Then you can go to result option and data sets. Okay, so it will show you a data set. See here, there are lots of data
Yes,
sets available.
that is little confusing.
Yeah, now here you have to go for Landsat collection to level 2. It's very important. You have to select this. Then in that case also, there are 8 and 9 OLI TIRS that I have already discussed here. 8 and 9 OLI TIRS data. Okay.
Okay.
So this data you have to select. Here already, basically you have to select all the things, like suppose in criteria, you can also select the areas, and additional criteria, you can also select the times where from where data range you want. Suppose for example, if you want the data for like not this year, so you can select here year also, you can select here month and date also. Okay.
So in between any two dates, suppose 10 years difference of particular date, you can do those comparison, comparative analysis. No, means
Definitely.
5 years particular day or 10 years difference a particular summer season days.
See
can-
here you can do it what one, see the imagery data is available from 2013. So you can
Okay.
take one imagery like 2015 on 22nd February or 22nd March, and other imagery like 26th February or 2020.
Yes.
So you can identify the same areas for the different kinds of structures.
Correct.
Okay, now here if you go here, then you have to see that what kind of data is available. So once you select the satellite imagery, you have to say for the results. So when you say for the results, they show you what data they are available right now with you, with them. So as of now, they don't show any data because we have not selected any specific day or date.
Correct.
Okay, so that's why data is not selected, and then you can directly download it somewhere there.
Yes.
So, yes, site is already having some issues.
No problem. Thank you so much.
You got the data.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Yamini ma'am, just one point. If you can just add these steps, how the data can be downloaded, and just give one exercise on this to the participants. Just a simple one, the way you generated the heat map, and if you can just add the steps, step-by-step process in the presentation itself. So when we share that presentation, let them do that exercise, they can submit it.
Definitely, I'll add one more slide how to download the data, and the exercise is already. Exercise is already given.
Yes, please, yeah.
Yamini madam.
Basically, just now we have seen that how the macro areas can be identified for the heat island impact. Now,
Yamini madam, I just had one question, because last image when you showed that where there is a river there is less heat, and where there is structure there is more heat, and that is what is our assumptions always. It was like it is always in conventional way that we think, but today even to the MPCB, when we say that when we talk about the greenhouse gases, it's the nitrous oxide which is released from the STPs, and as well as from the river, which are all polluted around us. So from the polluted rivers, there are lot of gases which are much more, times more than the GHGs, what we are saying, and they are much more heat producing. So regarding that, any kind of consideration while you are doing this kind of heat mapping?
consideration as in what sense, ma'am?
About the when you say the heat island effect which you are doing, so in that the causes, when you showed the causes, So in the causes, like when you were showing the image, in that you showed the greenery and these things, and then you said the river is there, and so here heat is less, and we can predict that the structures are more, so heat is more. So but then
Right.
in other ways, now I just gave you an example that the kind of acids and other gases which are produced by the polluted rivers as well as the STPs around us, because in very big STPs have come up in particular areas and all, where we are, when we are trying to correlate it with the heat waves, we are not considering those things. So is there anything in consideration now in your studies or anything of that sort?
Yes, yes, definitely. See, when you use the satellite image, if suppose you are talking about the large community STPs, in the satellite image itself, you will get the temperature elevated. You will see the results of elevated temperature in that particular area because of those gases. Because image is not only trying to find out the what you can see the image as such, but it actually identify the nearby surface temperature in that particular area. If suppose STPs are open and the oxides and all other things are releasing into the environment and that causes the increase in heat temperature, that will be definitely identified in this heat map. So for that particular exercise, you will have to go under the smaller scale of the satellite image, and in that smaller scale, if you run the heat map over the period of time, like before the STP installation and the after STP installation, you will definitely get how much that heat is impacted or how much that impact is added because of the increase in temperature because of that installation of that particular STP.
So
If you
it
consider, yes,
quantifies, it quantifies.
it quantifies, it also gives the exact surface temperature of that particular area. Not only the STP, if you go the areas like Amul Goshala is there, like most of the Goshalas where
Yeah,
the waste material is too much.
cattle
In
waste.
that, yeah, urine waste is there, then all the fecal matters are there. All those things are also release lots of ammonia and all other gases, and therefore the temperature surrounding to those particular goshalas is very high. And that's why not only these things like the mitigation of those important, but we can identify those microclimates as well. The microclimate and the mitigation of microclimate has to be done, and for that particular thing heat maps can be generated over the period of time using the same process.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. But as you said ki even the smaller areas need to be identified, so that I'm coming to that only. The next my topic is that only, that if suppose a very small building is there or like a cluster of building is there, then how you can identify the heat island impact in that particular area. So now I am showing you one more exercise, one more small report, just for your understanding of how the microclimates heat islands are identified. So this is done for one of the small society in the Mumbai city. The heat island impact is there. Before that, we generate the shadow analysis also. That how the shading impact of the existing building on the surrounding structure is there. So accordingly, we do the shading impact also, and that shading impact is also considered for the heat island impact. Now, purposefully, I have selected the areas where all other structures are a very smaller height, and the existing building which are coming up in futures are the like height of like 130 120 meters, which are quite a high. So this is the area, and this is the 3D model of the neighboring buildings that we have generated, and these are the structures, like which structures are the name of the structures, and this is actually a 3D model of that buildings. So we are coming up with this 4 building, taller buildings of the surrounding area. There is no other tall building in the surrounding area. The area belongs to Kalyan, Mumbai. Obviously, in the future part, it will definitely have some kind of like structures, but this is the one of its kind, like 130-meter buildings are there in the Kalyan area. So now in this case, we identify how much is available, what is the shading, what is the incident sun rays, and what are the absorbed sun rays. So this is usually done for 3 different cases. One is nothing but the pre-developed scenario. So here I'll show you. One is done for the pre-developed scenario. One analysis is done for the post-developed scenario, and one scenario is done when we apply the mitigation measures that we had just discussed, we will practically do it or don't do it, that's a different story. But we will try and identify practically how much heat and an impact can be reduced if we use, suppose, cool roofs, if we use the green roof, if we use some kind of a landscaping as an element to that particular building, or if we are using the paints which are high emissivity. So accordingly, we implied some kind of a implementation of a mitigation measure to reduce the heat island after the project completion, and we study the impact of that. So this is the solar absorption annual results. This is not the like monthly or a weekly result. These are the annual result. Every month, how much is the available, how much is the shading, how much is incident on that particular area, and how much is absorbed. So as you can see, as of now, building is vacant land, and therefore entire sunlight is absorbed in the land, obviously. So here you can see insolation analysis, maximum amount of heat energy is absorbed in the area, but the developed area are trying to reduce the less energy absorption. In post-developed scenario, if you can see here now, the energy heat absorption is increased quite a bit, very, very high. And when we apply the mitigation measures, we will also reduce. So in conclusion, we are having in pre-developed scenario, absorbed solar radiation, which is daily watt per square meter, is 62 watt per square meter. Hourly is also given, and the temperature in pre-developed scenario is 32.3 degrees Celsius. In case of post-developed scenario, we have tried to reduce to 31.8 because we are actually implementing the reduction of that particular vacant land to the structures with the mitigation measures to reduce the heat island impact, and therefore we are achieving almost 0.5 degrees of less as compared to what we are earlier getting in the pre-developed scenario.
What was the temperature without considering the mitigation measures? What was the temperature you were getting?
That temperature usually we don't run. We run only for the post-developed scenario after implementation of mitigation measures.
Okay, so there is no, we can't find out how much reduction or how much increase because of development. And then due to mitigation measures, how it is coming down even lesser than the pre-development scenario.
Actually, ma'am, they just want the pre-developed and A minus B. That's it. How much you are getting.
Okay, only for their approval purposes, looks like.
Yes. This is only for the approval purpose, and as per the standard notification, they ask us to reduce like anywhere between 0.3 to 0.8, because you can't reduce more than that. Even if you apply major mitigation measures, in that case also the surrounding area is always there to contribute the heat island impact.
Correct.
So as per our only building, we are trying to reduce almost 0.5 degrees Celsius overall heat absorption rate, and trying to make cooler.
Yeah, one more thing I would like to ask. I mean, is it possible to really determine the impact of only the development which is being considered? Because there definitely would be impact from other buildings, and how we can eliminate that while calculating? I mean, how can you ensure that, or at least reduce the impact of the surroundings?
Mainly we will see that in this case, actually in this project, the land is already vacant land, so it will be definitely a very, very high absorbing land. Whenever it is vacant land with no trees and nothing on it, it impact a heat island majorly in the surrounding area. But when we develop that particular vacant land, and we create a good amount of landscape on the roofs, on the terraces, on the balconies, on the ground also, Mother Earth also, that itself reduce the heat island impact. Further to that, we also add the rainwater harvesting measures, stormwater measures, then the low albedo pens we can use. We can also use the China mosaics on the terraces.
Okay, and what is the resolution that you get for this data, and is it freely available at any resolution?
No, this is this is not the satellite imagery. This is generated by using the software which is called as Ecotect.
Okay. But otherwise, in the earlier example, how much is the resolution possible?
Resolution is 30 meter. 30 meter is the 30 meter is the satellite image size. 30 meter by 30 meter.
Okay, fine.
This is actually this is not related to what you can see the weather conditions or other things. We can input the weather file in this software definitely, but not as an actual environment like what we are getting in the macro heat island effect, like what we have done in the ArcGIS.
Right. Okay.
So this is totally based on the assumption purpose.
Okay. No problem.
Yamini
So-
madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is also regarding that when we do about the heat wave study or heat island effect, then cloud formation, we try to do it with the cloud formation and the rainfall, then how affected or how it is going to happen. So, is that is possible in this using the way you are doing this with the software?
Yes, this is possible with the ArcGIS. For that, what you have to do, you have to first take out your AOI, that is area of interest. In the January, you can take it out, you can identify the surface temperature and heat island impact. Then you go into the rainy season, or you can decide on which day, say for example, mostly in the August or September, you can take out the images and you can identify the state heat island impact on the smaller area. And similar to the winters, so you will definitely identify, because in winter humidity will be more as compared to the summers. So you can identify the three different seasons, same area satellite images, and you can know that how much that rain contributes toward the heat island, or how much is the for example, in summers what is the temperature, winters what is the temperature, and rainy season what is the temperature of that particular land pass.
Actually, we tried to do it with IIT Bombay when they had cut a lot of trees for the hostel construction and all. So
Right.
in that case, we tried to find out about the heat effects and then and cloud formation in that, and before the rains only in between the rain period like June July period. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's how it's like. I was thinking that in this, when we are doing about even the for construction and other things, and we are trying to find out about the heat, we should be always also try to do it with the cloud formation also.
Cloud formation, for that ArcGIS gives you a better facilities also. There are a few other processes that you can do in case of cloud formation, but this is specifically for the surface temperatures. The image and that band is only for the surface temperature, and it also covers all the environmental factor that causes the changes in the surface temperature. So
Okay.
you can say definitely that whatever the cloud formation, if they are there or not, accordingly, whatever is the changes in the surface temperature of that land parcel, that can be definitely identified using this method.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So shall we go now forward?
Yes, please.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I'm coming to the end of the discussion, that we have already discussed what is exactly the heat island impact, what are the causes of heat island impact, how we can mitigate, and what are the different strategies that we can use to mitigate the impact of heat island. Then we have identified and see that how the heat maps can be generated using the satellite images and ArcGIS or Quantum GIS. And the lastly, for the macro area, and for micro area like a smaller building structure, we have seen the one small example, that how a small building can be studied for the impacts of the heat island in the surrounding areas. So this covers the entire chapter and entire topic of the discussion. I think I am open for these questions also.
If you would like to ask any